Imagine walking in a room you've known all your life, but suddenly noticing the walls are closing in. The ceiling is lower, the floor feels unsteady, everything looks familiar, yet you feel like a stranger in your own home. That's what the midlife feels like. The world hasn't changed, you have. The quiet hum of your daily life, once comforting, now whispers a question that pierces like a knife. Is this really all there is? By the end of this video, you'll understand why the so-called midlife crisis isn't a breakdown, a failure, or even a desire to reclaim youth. It's your mind, your soul, finally waking up, asking the questions you've been avoiding for decades. We've been fed a story about midlife crises that's more cartoon than reality. The man who buys a flashy sports car, the woman who suddenly abandons everything she built to chase adventure. Hollywood calls it drama, society calls it foolish. But the truth is far more subtle, far more profound. A midlife crisis isn't about wanting to be young again. It's about realising you were never fully alive in the first place. For years you'd been running on autopilot, following programs encoded by parents, society and culture. Work hard, achieve, be responsible, stay safe and seek approval. You ticked the boxes, you climbed the ladder. You accumulated enough to prove you succeeded. But somewhere along the way, a small insistent voice started whispering, "Is this all there is? Who am I beneath the roles I play?" That whisper grows louder until one day you cannot ignore it. And when you finally hear it, it shakes you to the core. You might wonder, why doesn't this happen at 25, 30 or even 35? In your early years, life is a storm of distractions, a constant chase. You're climbing, proving, surviving, seeking validation, and that keeps the emptiness hidden beneath a mask of busyness. It's only when the mask starts to slip, when momentum fades, that the cracks appear. Midlife has a cruel beauty. It removes the illusions that once comforted you. You have enough to know that achievement alone doesn't deliver fulfillment. Your mind begins to ask, if this is success, why do I still feel hollow? That question is not a weakness, it's a quiet intelligence surfacing from deep within, telling you it's time to wake up. Think of your brain as a machine designed to chase rewards. In your youth, life is fueled by dopamine, novelty, excitement, ambition, validation. Every success, every thrill, every win sends a pulse of satisfaction that keeps you moving forward. But dopamine is a little trickster. It rewards motion, not meaning. And by midlife, your brain starts craving a different chemistry. The shallow thrills no longer satisfy, promotions feel hollow, material gain can feel empty. The flashy distractions that once lit up your nervous system now feel like shadows. This is not depression, it's evolution. Your brain is saying, enough of chasing illusions. I want truth. I want depth. I want alignment. And when the world doesn't provide it, panic sets in. Let's be honest, awakening can be terrifying. It dismantles your identity, the version of you that survived, that worked, that achieved. It no longer fits the question you're now asking. You feel restless, irritable, disconnected. You can't sleep, you question everything. Sometimes you even feel like your own life is a stranger's story. Most people respond in one of three ways. They distract themselves, they overreact, or they numb themselves. They buy the sports car, leave the relationship, move across the country. Not because they're shallow or reckless, but because they haven't been taught how to sit with existential discomfort. Imagine holding a pressure cooker of your own life. Every ignored question, every unexamined choice builds heat. Midlife is when the lid starts rattling, and if you don't open it consciously, it will blow. Carl Jung once said, "The first half of life is devoting to forming a healthy ego. The second half is about letting it go." Think of your life as a garden. For decades, you've planted according to someone else's blueprint, ambitions, roles, responsibilities. The garden is full, productive, well kept, but sterile. Midlife is when your inner gardener finally asks, what do I really want to grow here? This is the beginning of authorship, not rebellion, not chaos, but conscious creation. You stop asking, what should I do? And start asking, what is true for me now? Your rules change. Performance gives way to presence. Approval gives way to alignment. Noise gives way to clarity. And the life that emerges is yours in a way it never was before. So try this. Imagine your 80-year-old self looking back. What would they regret if they kept living by the old rules, by society's definitions, by convenience? Or imagine life as a novel. You've spent decades writing chapters someone else dictated. Midlife is when the editor says, you may now take control of the narrative. So ask yourself, what would integrity, courage and curiosity look like if you truly rewrote your life now? The questions that make you restless aren't obstacles, they are compasses. The trick is not to fight the awakening, but to navigate it consciously. So firstly, don't make permanent decisions in emotional chaos. The pressure cooker is active, so pause, reflect, wait for clarity. Second is to replace distraction with reflection. Sit with the discomfort, observe your mind like a scientist observes an experiment. Let the questions deeper rather than fearing them. And third, build a new identity consciously, not from rebellion or reaction, but from alignment with your own values. Ask yourself daily, am I living deliberately or defaulting? This is the rare gift of midlife, the opportunity to finally become fully yourself, not the self the world expects. The real crisis isn't awakening, it's reaching the end of your life having ignored the questions, having numbed the voice, having never listened to the whisper that started decades earlier. Midlife is not a breakdown, it is a mind tapping you on the shoulder, a life inviting you to wake up, and a soul daring you to live deliberately. There is more to you than this if you are brave enough to meet yourself. And if this resonates, take it seriously. Your awakening has already begun.